When it was all over with, I said, well, I know what we got to do because there's not an ounce of truth in all of these accusations, and my team is putting this stuff together. That's why I'm willing to do a press conference tomorrow to set the record straight.
That's Herman Cain as he is responding to a new accuser who went public yesterday with charges against him about sexual harassment. Joining us to talk about that right now is criminal defense attorney Kelly Saindon. Good morning, Kelly. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. By the way, we heard from Fox News that Herman Cain has a news conference to address these issues this afternoon at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time. So we'll be interested to hear what the candidate has to say at that point. What do you think are the legal angles associated with this type of public accusation?
You know, in this particular case, there's the possibility that he could go after her for slander or defamation. But there's a really high burden because, first of all, he has to be able to prove that what she's saying isn't true. And I don't know how you disprove a negative. And secondly, he's in a public position, so you can throw a lot more stones at someone who's famous than an unknown individual who's just living their life in quiet suburbs somewhere.
This is like, in the last couple of years, the third woman that Gloria Allred has brought forward that has these types of charges or, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger case, the sexual, what was it, the child that he had with the housekeeper? Sure. She represented, Gloria Allred represented that woman, and then she also represented a housekeeper that had worked for, Meg Whitman, kind of torpedoed Meg Whitman's campaign. Do we, the public, have the right to know who is paying the legal bills for these women? To retain Gloria Allred. She doesn't work for nothing. And these three women do not come from means.
Right. Unfortunately, the answer is no unless there was a lawsuit. Because if she filed suit against Herman Cain, then his legal team would be able to discover that information. Just the public, her making these accusations and going out and doing press conferences and Gloria standing by her side, they don't have to disclose who's paying that.
On the other hand, if Mr. Cain filed suit against this woman, could he then use the process of discovery to find out who's paying for her to
Absolutely.
Maybe he should do that. Just when you find out who's paying for it, then you drop the lawsuit.
I like the way you're thinking. It would take about a year to get there, but it could be very interesting to find out.
Well, yeah, because see, then what that would do is it might kind of put a little bit of a wet blanket on this type of tactic in the future that Gloria Allred uses so expertly. I mean, there is someone who is finding these women and connecting them to Gloria Allred. And,
agreed.
Whether or not Mr. Cain did this, okay, whether or not he's guilty or innocent, I'm a little more interested in the follow the money aspect of this because I want to know who is bringing this stuff forward.
I agree with you, and the timing is so suspect. I mean, he ran for public office in the past.
Right.
He ran for, I think, a state senate position. We didn't hear anything about it then.
He ran for Congress once, I believe.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's run for two offices, two high-profile public offices.
And it wasn't important enough then for his constituents to know that he's a dirtbag, only now that he's generating some publicity with his 999 theory and other things. Now we have to talk about this?
You may end up adding another 9 to the 999, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there could be more women. That's why
I can't count that high. I lost focus.
Well, let me ask you this. What would the political ramifications for Mr. Cain be if this ends up being true?
Well, let's think about that. I mean, it depends on what this press conference, has to say this afternoon and how he handles it. Because back 15 years ago, sexual harassment and sexual advances were treated very differently. Even had she gone to someone at that time, would they have charged him? Highly unlikely. And, I mean, think about all of the politicians that have been involved in scandals lately. What is it, Weiner? And then, I mean, we can bring up Lewinsky and Clinton. Mm-hmm. There are so many. Our public is so forgiving with an apology. And for him, the great part is this was so long ago that even if he acknowledges, hey, I hit on this lady and she misinterpreted it as an assault, maybe I asked her on a date, whatever. If he says, I'm sorry and that was a long time ago and I'm so respectable now, people will believe him if they want to.
Yeah. Kelly, here's another aspect of it as well. Herman Cain does not advertise himself as a family values candidate. I mean, if this was Rick Santorum, this would be, would be a career ender for him, okay? But he hasn't put himself out there as the defender of the faith and the family values. He's really a guy who's focused on jobs and economics, that first and the other stuff later. What if he was to say, and if he tried to turn it around, and would this be a tactic that could work? He'd say, you know what? I did. I'm sorry about it. That didn't disqualify Bill Clinton. It shouldn't be disqualify me. And you know what? I would take it one step further. I'd say, and here's my question to all of you. If it was okay for Bill Clinton to have done all these kinds of things and he became president for 2 terms, why isn't it okay for me?
Right. Move on.
Exactly. And you say that. And then how do the media and the accusers respond? They're left with nothing to say.
Exactly.
You've effectively muzzled them.
Yep. I agree with you. I mean, so that's why I'm so fascinated to see how this plays out. He just hasn't done himself a service because he's been so aggressive with the media, saying, get out of my face and leave me alone. And I agree with you. I mean, this is a guy whose, chief campaign is in an ad smoking a cigarette?
Yes.
He's clearly not extolling, let's be healthy, let's do. So you're right. His campaign is very different, and it might make sense for him to do that. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out this afternoon. Mm-hmm.
Let me go ahead and take a couple calls for you first. Here is Rick in Salinas. Rick, you're on with Kelly. Go ahead.
Hey, Mark and Kelly, good morning. Let's make no bones about it. We know where Gloria Allred's allegiance lies. It lies with the Democratic, lefties. And, I'm sure she has more to gain than this. But the other thing you guys mentioned earlier, he could be prosecuted on this. Is there not a statute of limitations? And the reason why I say this, if there is not a statute of limitations for this, it's pretty sad when something like this can play out in court of law. But, the court judge in Texas that beat his daughter 7 years ago gets off scot-free because the statute of limitations run out. It's just so unfair.
Yeah, no, there's no statute there is a statute. It's too late. He's not going to be charged with this. That's part of the reason that the timing is so suspect. What is this woman's end game? Why is she bringing it up now? He's not going to go to jail for it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Rick, thanks for the call. Let's take one more here. Hi, this is KION. Who's this?
Hey, this is Rep Kai. Good morning, Mark, Kelly.
Go ahead, Rep.
Hey, I just wanted to say there is a difference between Clinton and Cain. Clinton had the media on his side.
Yes, Clinton had 3,000 press secretaries working for him in the mainstream media. All right.
That's right, and they'll make it different.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But
all right,
great point. Thank you very much. Well, it'll be interesting to see what plays out this afternoon. The news conference is set for 2 p.m., and that will take place during the Sean Hannity show. So we'll have the audio for you right here on Fox News Radio. And Kelly Saindon, thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. All right.
Bye.